All right, we're going to tackle a question that, let's be honest, probably gives you a little bit of anxiety. We're diving into a piece called The Calculus of Enough, and trust me, it might just change how you look at your bank account forever.
So here it is, the big one. How much cash should you actually have sitting around? It's that question that can literally keep you up at night, and trying to land on the right number can be just incredibly stressful.
So, what's our first instinct? Well, we usually reach for these simple formulas and rules of thumb, right? Like that classic keep 3 to 6 months of expenses guideline. And look, those can be okay places to start. But what we're going to explore today argues that they completely miss the real point.
And this right here, this is the core idea that pretty much changes everything. The whole goal isn't to hit some magic number on a spreadsheet. Now, the goal is to have an amount of cash that actually changes how you act and feel in your daily life.
Let's break that down a bit. The math problem approach, that just gives you a number that looks good on paper. It's static, it's impersonal. The behavior problem approach, though, focuses on finding the number that gives you true freedom, the amount that lets you operate differently, more calmly. The number itself is way less important than the effect it has on you.
Okay, so let's get a little more specific with our language here. We're not just talking about any old cash. We're talking about something called usable cash. And its job is really simple, but it's so powerful. It's there to make your life smoother. It's the buffer that handles all of life's little financial bumps without turning them into a full-blown crisis.
So, what's the ultimate sign that you've finally reached enough? It's when you stop thinking about it. Seriously. It's when an unexpected expense doesn't make your stomach drop, when you stop compulsively checking your bank balance before you buy groceries. The cash it fades into the background of your life.
Sometimes the best way to understand what something is to understand what it isn't. So let's look at the flip side. What does it actually feel like when you have the wrong amount of cash, either way too little or maybe even too much?
I mean, this description is just perfect, isn't it? Sharp. When you don't have enough cash, every little unexpected bill, every minor car repair, it just feels like a much bigger, more painful deal than it actually is. Life gets these really sharp, uncomfortable edges.
But, and this is the really surprising part, you can also have too much of this usable cash. It creates this weird sense of stagnation, a feeling that your money is just stuck, that it isn't doing anything useful for you. And that creates its own kind of quiet, low-grade stress.
So that brings us back to the sweet spot. Enough isn't a feeling of being rich or, rolling in dough. It's neutral. It's quiet. Money just stops fighting for your attention, whether it's through the anxiety of not having enough or the stagnation of having too much. It's just there.
And this is exactly why you can't just copy somebody else's number from a blog post. I mean, think about it. Are you a single person with a super predictable paycheck? Or do you have a family with expenses that are all over the place? Are you a natural-born worrier, or are you pretty easygoing? All of these deeply personal things completely change what enough looks like for you.
Okay, so if it's not a magic number and it's super personal, how in the world do you actually figure out if you're there? Well, it turns out there are a couple of really simple tests you can use on yourself, like right now. Okay, here they are. First test. If your income just stopped for 1 month, could your life keep going pretty smoothly without you having to make immediate drastic changes? And the second test, what's really driving your small everyday decisions? Let's really dig into that second one because it's a big deal.
Think about it like this. When you don't have enough usable cash, your bank balance dictates your choices. Every little purchase, can I afford this coffee? It becomes a math problem. But when you have enough, your principles take over. You make that decision based on your values, not out of fear of what the number is in your checking account. That is a massive shift in thinking.
And really, this gets to the heart of the whole thing. The goal isn't a feeling of abundance. The goal is a state of non-reactivity. It's the ability to absorb life's little financial hits without getting thrown off course and without money constantly hijacking your thoughts.
And that leads to a really critical point. Once you hit that state of mental quiet, that non-reactivity, just piling up more and more cash in that account doesn't actually buy you any more peace of mind. It's a point of diminishing returns. At that point, any extra money needs a new job, a totally different purpose.
So all of this brings us to a really fascinating chicken and egg question. We know we need savings, we need this usable cash, and obviously we need income. But does the order we build them in actually matter? And more importantly, what happens when we get that order wrong? Well, that's what we'll be digging into next time.